you have always the difference of like the plan versus reality, because the map and the terrain are different. And you go on a journey and you look at the map and this looks very easy, few hills there. But then when you're out on the hills, they feel a bit steeper. What plan have you had that didn't survive meeting reality?
So many times. Like at the moment, we're at a market which is fairly good. Share market's up, everything's going up, everything feels good. It's not always like that. And it's funny because like in the FIRE movement, the higher the share market is at, or the better things are going, the more people turn up to learn about financial independence, when the exact opposite should be happening. When the market crashes, that's actually the best time to buy, right? And we know this. We know this time and time again. But it's really hard to do because every time there's a crash, it feels different from the last. So like COVID obviously was one of your more recent events. That was super scary. And like as much as I'd always said to myself, if there's ever a crash, I'll make sure I put money in. It's hard to do that when you don't even know if you're going to have a job next week, right? So it was a scary time. And I recall calling up my pension advisor in March of 2020 saying, hey, look, I want to buy more. Can you increase my contributions? And she was on the phone to me like, you sure? Because everybody else I've had today on the phone is called to sell. I'm like, no, everybody says this is the time. We've had a crash. This is the time. So it's one of those things where it's easier said than done. And it's very much a case where you need to trust the process and trust the fact that, look, things are bad now. At the time, you're thinking this may not be okay and this seems really bad. COVID was actually a perfect example because at the time, like my work situation changed. Investments went down the toilet. Everything looked bad. But in hindsight, what came out of that and what grew out of that was a world where we could work remotely. And all of a sudden, remote work was normalized. And I'd always worked remotely as a freelance software developer. And all of a sudden, these day contracts are coming out where I was able to move into contracting. These days, I have a lovely government contract. I was able to work for the likes of Apple, KPMG, also all these massive global companies that I previously wouldn't have had exposure to. So, sometimes you're in it and you think, man, this is bad. And you don't realize that actually what's going to come from it is a good thing. And so it's about managing that process and being okay with that. And a lot of that is just to think more long term. You've got to adopt a 10 to 20 year time horizon rather than a 1 to 2 year time horizon. And that can be difficult to do when you're grinding away, but it will be worth it. And, the best example of that I can give you was in 2022. I ended up, work was so ample. I ended up taking 2 jobs. I worked a European job in the morning and then US contract in the evening time, because we realized that if we bucketed away for a couple of years, it was going to set us up so well financially. And we've seen reward from that. We bought 3 properties within an 18-month period. We've seen valuations of those increase over the last couple of years. The mortgages have slowly been paid down. It's given us so much freedom now to be able to build a great life that we've been able to build because of a couple of years of working and grinding hard. It's very much about thinking a little bit more long-term when it comes to this stuff, particularly when it comes to the financial independence stuff, which is going to take a long time. But decisions we make today can have a massive impact on us, on our future.